Narelle's one of my besties, everybody. And Narelle started out in Learn to Swim, basically, and then she went through to Elite, and you've gone around the world and at Olympians, and now have two Learn to Swim, 3 centres actually, Manly, your own Learn to Swim independent, and then you've got the one at Warringah Council as well, haven't you, Narelle?
Yep, got all 3. Keeps me busy.
If someone came up to you, just tap you on the shoulder, sorry to put you on the spot, Narelle, but you know.
I'm used to that.
You're a ledge, I can ask you, you're my bestie. Well, you know, if someone came up and said, just give me, if I want to start out in open water swimming coaching, what advice would you give them? Tip?
Go and work with someone. Go and actually pick people's brains and ask if you can go and do some open water with them and then develop from there. I think that's a big mistake most coaches make. They don't pick up the phone and ask for help.
Yeah. So you think it's a sign of weakness to put, but some people don't realise it's actually a strength to put your hand up to ask for help.
Most definitely. I think
when you say ask people, who are you talking about? People in the know?
Open water at the moment, go and have a look at the way they run it, because, you know, like for instance, Manly, there's so many people that are out on doing open water and asking. You can ask the swimmers where they're swimming, what's their coach doing. You can ask, and then you ring up the coach and say, can I have a look? I mean, I go out on the kayak all the time with my guys. So, well, I did until I had a knee replacement 6 weeks ago. But yeah, I'd actually check it all out, ask lots of questions, ring people like yourself, send emails, go to the association like Swim Coaches and Teachers Association, go, I need help here. Go to your World Open Water Association, because people don't use that networking as well as they should. So I recommend use your network, because people are really willing to help you.
Thanks, Narelle. I appreciate that. Quinn, I think we're about ready to go, aren't we, mate?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Narelle, thank you. Is the pool room open today? It says the pool room. Where's the pool room? Are they here? Are they here? Let's see. Looking for the pool room. Might not be here today. I'll have to get him back next week.
Yeah, Gary's pretty full on at the moment.
Yeah,
but he'll listen to it after for sure.
Yeah. Well, welcome everybody. It's Shelley, and I'd like to firstly just start out by acknowledging the owners of the land past, present and futures in the Wunjuk region here in WA that I am actually in and sitting in and privileged to be a part of today. This is week 3, and I hope that, you know, as I've said from week 1, I hope you've got lots of questions more than answers. And I hope you actually might have written down a bit of what Narelle was just saying then, or actually if that sparked even more interest in knowing, hang on a minute, there are associations around. You are a member of an association. You remember right now, wowza. Is that right, Quinn?
They are.
And, you know, that all these people that are on this course are in the same, literally in the same boat as you. They're looking to better themselves. They're looking to improve themselves. They want to help people. They want to help themselves in their knowledge, and they want to either start a business in open water swimming, or they want to change direction and pivot for whatever reason. Next slide. Thanks, Quinn. Or Lauren. Thank you. So, yep, that's me, a little character of me when I swam from Sydney to Wollongong back in 1996. And today we're going to be talking about the pyramid of success. We're going to be talking about equipment and how to build a season training plan. We're going to touch on nutrition next week in more detail, because I think it's an area with the psychology as well, where the nutritional component of open water swimming is constantly changing, as Narelle Simpson will be able to give us more detail next week, because I've invited her. And now I've invited her again, so she knows I've stated it. But this is what we're going to go through today. The pyramid of success, equipment. And equipment could be a range of anything from even, you know, toys that we play with in the pool, as I call it, toys. But also it could be equipment for your open water swimming race, coaching business. So the scope is very, very wide. Next one, thank you, Quinn or Lauren. Okay, can I have a giggle at this? I found this picture and I thought, well, one size does not fit all. And it's the same in coaching. Okay. You know, isn't that great? There's not, you know, that you don't have to fit in a box. You can define who you want to be in your coaching world and in your coaching business and in your career. And in particular with open water swimming, there are no boxes. You create your own box. You create what you want to be known as. And that's what today's challenge is going to be, is like, hang on a minute, who do I want to be in this sphere? Become an expert, or in helping people or educating people or helping them, you know, from that could be competitors, but also they might be using it for mental health. Or you might be in, you know, aged care, and here's an opportunity to take the aged care lovely ones down to the water, just engage their feet with Mother Nature, even if they can't swim or if they go up to their waist. And what will that do to energize them and also just help them? I mean, there's, as I've said, the scope is so wide, the opportunities, the windows are wide open right now, wide open. And it's really up to you what opportunity you want to create out of this. And isn't that, if I, you know, let's find your happy place. Where do you feel comfortable in your business right now, or in a career in open water swimming? Next slide. Now, for me, when you're talking about success, you know, I've developed over life in my 61 years on planet Earth, in the life that I only know right now. And, you know, it comes from having a meaning. I've been very big on this because I had people, as Narelle mentioned earlier, I've had people that I have listened to. I have had people that I've knocked on doors. I've had people that have been in my life through trauma or tragedy as a young child, when I had scoliosis and a back brace, and they wanted to fuse my spine, and they said I'd never swim again properly. I would never be able to tumble turn properly with a steel rod in my back. So I've realized that listening to people and then redefining what success means to me. So I can go around, you know, all of us here today, and success will mean something different, each and every one, or what it looks like will be different, and how I say it may be different, or what other people will look at me and say, well, is she a success or not? You know, it's just not the wins on the board. Wins on the board mean something. I understand that. Otherwise, we wouldn't keep score. Very simple, right? There wouldn't be world records. But when it comes back to you, and when you lay in bed at night, at the end of the day, it's really about living your life on purpose, doing what you love and being passionate about what you do. I can't think of anything worse than going to the pool and having someone at the end of the pool or in the ocean hating what they're doing. Because, you know, there are tough days in the pool and at the ocean. And Mother Nature can be a real bitch. So why would you want someone out there helping you who doesn't like what they do, you know? So when you have that ability to do what you love and love what you do, and then share that with others, it's like the ripple effect. You know, you're skimming that rock across the stone across the water, and that ripple effect is, you know, you can't measure that. It is immeasurable. It's invaluable. So that's what having a life of meaning and being successful means to me. At the end of the day, God help me. You know, if anybody mentions at my wake or funeral, oh my gosh, you beat all the boys, that is all BS. How many times I've been number one? That's BS. It created it's part of my journey in life. I'd rather be known as she always was there to help other people better themselves, whether it's internally or externally, physically, emotionally, or mentally. Next one, please. So just think about that as you contemplate that. What is sex? How would I measure my success? Okay, was I a natural born champion? No. Next slide. And as you see that progression, as Narelle mentioned on beautifully, and thank you, Narelle, for that earlier, it's about hanging with the best and modeling their champion habits. You know, this is Dawn Fraser on the left and Dawn Fraser on the right. This was on the 10th of January or 11th of January on the left, and then on the right, it's 10th of November 1991. So this was an amazing year for me. And the reason I share this with you is that Dawn became my mentor. She came up to me after I won gold in 91, and she said, Shells, what can I do for you? What's next? And I was like, can I just enjoy the view? And she said, where are you going? And I was like, I have no idea. Well, if you knew, where would you go? And I went, well, you know, the World Professional Marathon Swimming Federation, International Marathon Swimming, there's races in Argentina and Brazil, but at the moment, like this, it's financially, I can't afford it. She goes, what is it? What do you need? I said, 2 airfares. And she goes, so she wrote me a check for 10 grand right there on the spot. And I thought, oh shit, now I'm really going, or now I'm really heading there. But not that. It was like someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, do you have a goal? Do you have a plan? And it's the same in our business world. Do you have a goal? Do you have a plan? It's okay if you don't have to have it all mapped out. But when as I was talking about last week, very briefly, I talked about that GPS in your brain. And when you go to bed at night and you start thinking about things, the unconscious in your GPS and that reticular activating system in your brainstem is going to go out and find what you need. All of a sudden, I had someone come to me and tap me on the shoulder. And Dawn mentored me that whole year. And the last swim on the right is when, she came there. She was next to me on the boat. My New York mum couldn't come out because she was unfortunately in hospital with lung cancer. Nancy, who'd been on my boat, couldn't be there. So Dawn was on her on a to-do, and it was a hilarious day. But the reason I'm saying this is, if you're going to rub shoulders with someone, if someone's going to tap you on the shoulder, you've got to be willing not only to listen, but to learn and adapt. And when people mentor you and you share your goals and dreams, you've got to be prepared to be held accountable. So Dawn's given me some quick, some swift kicks up the butt, but not because I did anything wrong, but she believed in me and she wanted me to know she was on my team. And that's what this course is all about. We're on your team. And when I'm thirsty and have a quench for matching someone and modeling them in what they do well, you can tell that I'm committed. I think I'm beating Dawn in the photo on the left. Just, I've got to drink beers with Dawn. Well, I better bloody do a good job, okay? And you can see me there just in front, and it's just that fun aspect. It's serious business, yes, but you've got to enjoy what you do, as I said before. You've got to know, okay, what are the habits that I do want to model? It's okay to say, hey, look, I'm not a beer drinker. This is not for me. That's not the habit. And I'm saying, what you might learn from someone and be mentored. It might not fit in with your business model and your career, and that's okay. That actually holds you more accountable as well, because you're actually taking it on board and you're actually listening, going, oh, those values don't sit with me. And that's okay. Remember, your business is your business. And here's your opportunity to really expand to what you do well, and then, tweak it. You're the one that's in control, no one else. Next slide, thank you. So who influences you? Here's Beijing, 208. Here I am, I've got the job, the job of a lifetime, roll out the Olympic 10-kilometre swim. And here I've got, on the left, I've got Melissa Cunningham, 1994 Aussie world champion in 94 and 96. I had been 88, 91. Melissa came in 94 and 96. And here we were, she was the athlete's representative and she got to commentate. And that's when you realise, regardless of being competitors, the passion, and you can work together. You put all the stuff aside from, the competitors in the water. You have that mutual passion and respect for being out of the water. The top is the Beijing committee. That was the FINA, Chinese FINA officials. I gave them all English names because I couldn't even say their Chinese names. And I just said, I asked, do you mind if I give you an English name? And, one was called Blue Eyes because he had these beautiful blue eyes. And another one, Bob, Paul, Ringo, Mary, they were just simple English names. You like that, do you, Eric? And when I mentioned their name and I looked at them, I got it, because I was trying to connect with them. So passionate, Chinese, when they commit to a job, they commit. And, what do we call it? Saving face. They're very big on saving face, but they don't want to let you down. I don't speak Chinese, but I speak passion. I can speak from my heart. And, when you're connecting at that level, that's when you start to understand how you can be successful together. We all cried on the last day at Beijing when we left because we've become a family. I went there so many times and I trained them and, and look at us. You know, we're just a happy-go-lucky, committed to the Olympic Games. And, you know, I said, hey, you know, your job is just as important as mine. Together, we have to all do the job to boost each other up and lift each up. On the bottom there is Natalie Detroit, the first swimmer to compete in a Paralympian to compete in an able-bodied games. And she swam the 10K marathon swim. She'd swum many Commonwealth Games for South Africa as an able-bodied, as an Paralympian. And I got to, you know, it sounds funny, but I got to take her prosthetic off after she got to dive in. And there's this great photo where she's about to dive in, and all the able-bodied athletes from the other 24 women are looking at her. You know, she qualified as an able-bodied person, and everybody was in awe of the inspiration. That's why I've got these 3 photos here, because in that moment you realize the people around you that influence you and how you influence them, that ripple effect, and how important it is you're working as one team for success, to make you all look good. Thank you. We all had a common goal. There's a big thing there. Okay, so getting into the nitty-gritty of success. Every coach knows what they do, okay? Some coaches know how they do it. And then very few will know why they do it, why they do what they do. And for me, it's the very reason I exist, is that I know why I do what I do, and how I bring that across to my swimmers so that I enable them to succeed is what it's all about. Next slide, please. The passion pyramid. So when we're talking about a training plan or a goal plan or a life plan or a relationship plan, you've got to have a why. If you look at that pyramid, the base of it is purpose. That's your reason why. That's what's going to hold you instead as a coach, but also it's going to hold your swimmers. I share this slide with my Roto swimmers because I said, you know, when you're out there, whether you're swimming the English Channel, wherever you're going, or you're having that bad day, and Mother Nature could be just spitting the dummy, and she does so well, and she just says, well, let me see if I can just make your swim a bit more interesting, you know, and throw a few jellyfish, you know, and throw a few more waves, and then the wind, and, you know, the tide comes in earlier than it's supposed to for whatever reason in the English Channel happens. There's currents, and you're going, oh, I didn't think that current was going to be as strong today. You know, you've got to really know why you're doing what you're doing. In particular, you could be out there on those days as a coach and things are happening and you're going, that was the worst open water swim session with my squad I've ever had. I feel like we got nowhere. But then, you know, you sit down and you go, hang on a minute, let me sit down after that session and let me have a debrief with my swimmers, because I can tell you they would have got just as much frustration and lessons out of it like yourself. They would have gone, oh, that was a really interesting. Why did I show up? Right? Why did I show up? Well, I can tell you 10 times out of 10, when I showed up when I didn't want to be there, I learned something about myself as a swimmer, but I learned about myself as a coach too, when those days when you go, oh, you know, I'm just not firing all the cylinders. And I say to my swimmers, you're giving 100% of what you've got. That's 100%. You might not be operating on 100% emotionally, physically, mentally, but I say to them, you showed up and just do the best you can, and that's giving 100%. And in particular, I learned a major lesson with that in the 94 World Championships. I had a benign breast tumor. I didn't know it was benign at the time. It was a bit growing and it was irritational. And, you know, I was out there, I've been number 1 for so many years. And, you know, all of a sudden I'm out in the middle of a race and Melissa Cunningham goes past me and I went, shit, you know, well, okay, silver's looking good. I'll hang on for silver. Then goes Rita Kovacs from Hungary and I'm going, oh, God, come on, bronze. Hang on for bronze. Give me bronze. And I hung on for bronze. And what the real story about that was my bronze was gold to me, because I wasn't at my best, but I gave what I had. And me hanging on enabled us to win the team gold, because I didn't allow anybody else to go past. And if anybody else had gone past, we wouldn't have won the team gold. And so that when I look at my bronze medal for my individual and then my gold for team, they look like 2 gold medals to me. The thing to understand is when you have that reason why, those days that are bronze or silver when you want gold, they are actually gold. Because if you sit down after that lesson, even if it's with your swimmers and go, boy, that was a tough session out there. And, inside you're thinking, oh, gosh, should I have pulled them out earlier? Should we have gone to a different venue? But you use the best of your abilities and, all those different weather apps out there and that, the best of your ability. And Mother Nature, we can't know what she's going to do all the time, but we can prepare ourselves for the unknown to the best of our ability. Now, if you convey that with your swimmers, you're actually conveying it with yourself, that you're doing your best. Also notice in this is your mission, okay? Goals and dreams and outcomes, projects, scheduling, timeline. Now, thing is, remember what I said, the base is the purpose has the greatest base. It will support the mission, your goals and dreams, your projects. So when it's really, really tough and it's hitting the fan, that why is what holds you up in good stead. A lot of people are top down. They live top down. They have a to-do list. They have a timeline. I hear them all the time, whether it's been when I used to do business coaching and that, and now when I'm swim coaching as much, I can hear my adults going, I didn't do this yesterday, I didn't do that yet. And I'm like, it's okay, it's okay. The thing to ask yourself too is, as you go into this business, is there any things that you need to let go of? We're only human, right? So you might have stuck in a new career as an open water swimming coach, but what do you need to let go of? We've only got so many days. We've only got so many hours. Nothing's changing. We're only humans. So, sometimes we're trying to put so much in and we're adding stuff on, whether it's a goal or whether it's an extra swim squad or whether it's extracurricular activity or whether you're going to study something. So what I want you to do is sit down and it's like goals. You've got to sit there and go, okay, is this really realistic? Am I really able to complete this? If you're married and got children, and you're trying to say, can I do this? Is this realistic? Now, the thing is, if you turn it upside down, as I do with my squad, they've got that, and then I have it up the upside down, and then you have the V coming down. And up the top, I have as we get to the narrow part, and I apologize, I'll send this image later. I forgot to, I couldn't find it. It's in the car, I'm sure. And it's actually my image of what my sports psychologist and I, it might be perfect for next week, is that we had this funnel. Up the top was like, okay, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, which I do in my Rottnest channel plan. And each month I've got 5 phases. And as I did for the World Championships at 901, it was all these different phases. And the funnel gets narrower as you get that day, your Rotto day, or my World Championship day. And you might have priorities in your business or in your coaching that you're coaching someone to an English Channel or a triathlon Ironman. And, there's all these things at the top that are wider. So right now, you might say the first month the words foundation. Well, foundation is really important because that's going to hold us instead as we go on to the next phase. And the next phase where we might be doing more endurance. We might be doing next splits more. We might be doing Rotto pace. We might be doing English Channel pace. I might be throwing in food at them while they're swimming in the middle of the pool or in the middle of the ocean. And they're like, I wasn't ready for that food. And I said, yep, that's what happens sometimes. Things change so quick and we've got to take advantage of if a tide or something's happening out there and you're not ready for it. So that funnel gets really, really narrow. But what it is it gets their focus actually funneling onto their day. So they're going from the big picture and they've looked at all the things that's in that goal and it's in that pyramid. And as they come to narrow down the funnel, they're getting really clear on what they're working on. And things start to prioritize and what's really important to them. And I hope that makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, when I send you the other image next week, when I show that, will help you tremendously. You might be thinking, thanks, Lauren. You might be thinking, oh, where am I happy? Where do I really get happy? And it's not so much just being happy. It's like, where do I feel comfortable in my own skin sharing my knowledge? Or it could be something else. It's an area that you haven't had the opportunity before, but you do now. And as Narelle said at the end, getting around those coaches to learn more from them, going on pool deck, going down to an open water swimming venue, whether it's a river or a lake, and learning about how coaches develop that as well. It could be a competitive. Might want to help young school kids come into the 10K. They're in the 1500 or 800 in the pool. They might be in their later years of school, and you're thinking, hang on a minute, these swimmers could really step up and could have a go at the Olympics. That's what's really developing finally in Australia. And the others have been doing it magnificently, as we've seen with France, Italy, Germany, and Brazil. You know, they've been doing it for a while now. So the thing I'm asking you is what are the possibilities? I've said they're endless. Look at this, fitness, one-on-ones. Taking someone down to the ocean and giving them, you might just want to say, no, I feel really excited about having a one-on-one with someone. You might be taking them from the pool to the open water, but you're building their confidence as well. And they just want to build confidence in the open water, whether it's a river, a lake, a dam, a loch, the sea. But, you know, it's life-changing for some people. Life-changing. And if that gets you excited, good on you. Social, mental health, competitive squads, triathletes, learn to swim, swim holidays. Swim holidays are huge around the world right now. Huge. You might say, how could I get on a swim holiday? Reach out to them. Reach out to them. Say, hey, I'd like to be a guide on a swim guide. And what you do on those is you actually teach people in the open water. So you actually go on the holiday and you get a holiday and you're actually helping other people. There's Swim Trek. There's so many of them out there now, isn't there, Quinn? Quinn's going to give me the thumbs up.
There's a lot. There's a whole lot, Shelley, and you can find them on our website too.
Go to Wowza. And what would they look for, Quinn?
I mean, we have about 8 companies across 50 plus different trips all over the world, and it's growing every week. So yeah, just go to our travel section section. Swim camps, adventures, and clinics is the.
That's what I'm saying. This sport, open water swimming, the opportunities are endless. If you like to travel, you don't have any responsibilities, and you say, I grab my laptop, my mobile, whatever, or just my swimmers, my togs, or my Speedos. Off I go. Oh, my goggles. Okay, off I go. That's all you need. And there's a career for you. There's a career. Okay, next slide, thank you. So here you've got, it's endless. There's my squad at the bottom with the legendary Lisa Curry. She came in and she gave her time, and I said, look, they'd just love to meet an icon in Australian swimming. And, here was my squad. You've got kids up the top, there's, even if you travel, but there's a lot of resorts that have opportunities to teach open water swimming in as well. I've been seeing a lot of that. I love this family spirit. The photo up the top is the father and his 3 children. I've coached them all to Roto. The daughter did 20K, and then 3 weeks later, she did 20K her first time, and then 4 weeks later, she swam 25K in the Ports Pub. Ridiculous stuff. That's what happens, you breed that within your family. The father had been a heavy smoker, massively overweight, had a heart attack. He started swimming, and look what happened. His whole family, now they have their own little swim clan business, and just lovely people. And the father and the son on the far left, I took them on a duo of the English Channel, and then we did a duo of the pre-Naples, and we had a swim camp overseas, a dangerous one wet tour, where I just took people there to Italy, and we had a camp, and then we did pre-Naples. I think I thought, let's do a tour. Why not? It's I don't like winter in Australia. I'm going up. I'm going north. Okay, next slide. Also, hello, Narelle. And in this sport, that's Narelle and I. Narelle's just come off the water. I've been out of the water for a while. I was in a relay. Narelle was on the boat paddling her butt off, as she does so well. And so that's Narelle and I on the top right. And, there's myself coaching and getting ready for the Manhattan swim on the top left. So here's an opportunity, another part of a career where you go, I want to work one-on-one, but on a different area of helping people achieve, whether it's Manhattan, Australian Triple Crown, international Triple Crown. These are all the things that legend Steve Monotone has created. And, after COVID, it's been a bit of a hard time for a lot of people doing the Ocean 7. But all of a sudden, you've got here an opportunity to share your knowledge, but then go, I'm going to sit back and just watch them do their job, do what they've learned. And that's what it was like for me. And the bottom left, all of those were solway swimmers. They're all virgins that year. And I looked at them and went, gosh, this is going to be an interesting year. But, together as one and working with people is absolutely brilliantly. I love it. Far bottom right, a woman hadn't swum in 35 years. And that's after she did a 10K qualifier and made it for Roto. And just said to her, I was so proud of her, I said, just show up, do it, repeat, the success formula. And that's what I love about this is when people take the action. That's the greatest respect anybody could give me, is just using my knowledge and going forward. Next, please. So right now, if you defined what your culture's like, is it happy through sailing? Next. Or are you really swimming against the tide? Are you really pushing so hard and you're being pushed backwards? And that's what sometimes can happen in your business, in your coaching career. We're just doing the best we can. But look at this image. For me, this image means everything to me. This is me in Atlantic City, 1991. That's Nancy in the front of the boat. And at the back, thank you for that, Quinn. If anybody wants to know about those vacations and clinics and everything, Quinn has popped that in the chat for you, that link. You look at this, those two guys, we're just about creating the team and getting the people around you that you need for success. And I know what it's like when people say, but my family aren't on my team. And I go, well, just build a double-decker bus and put them up the top and strap them in. And what's that great tape? Gaffer tape them, gaffer tape them. You want them in your life, but you can't get them off the bus. Just put them up the top, gaffer tape them, and just turn the volume down. These two guys here, I think they got $50 each to row around Atlantic City for me. Now, this is how the race is done. This is one of the original races. This race has been going for 50, maybe 60 years. I paid $50. I found out first what they drank, and they're on my team. And Nancy there, always on my team. We had a winning formula. We went back the next year. This is the year I came first out of the water, broke the women's record and the men's because I came first overall. And we went back for a repeat and we did it again. Guess what? Same crew. Winning formula. And the boys were like, yep. And then we went back for a three-peat. I got third, but that's okay. I got first female, but that's not what it's about. This image is about the people that are doing the hard yards for you so you go forward. And that's what it's all about when you're succeeding is I say to the squad, the swimmers, I say, I know there's days when it's hard, but look around you at the people that are supporting you. It could be a nutritionist, it could be your physio, it could be your psych, it could be your coach, it could be your family. They're out there supporting you still, even though you might not realize it at the time until the tide turns. Next one, please. So, doing what you love. Next slide. These are just giving you an idea of the ripple effect of swimming to Roto over the years and all the people that have started to show up. Now, I only started, here's the thing. I talked about having a plan. I didn't have a plan going to open water swimming coaching, and Narelle Simpson knows that very well. She was the person that drove me to the airport when I left Sydney to move back to Perth in December 2008. I'd come home from Beijing Olympics. I looked at my box of goals and I went tick, tick, tick. Put marathon swimming, yep, helped that. In the Olympics, yep, done that. Yep, I've helped my profile, yep, tick, tick. Okay, it's time to go home. I'm exhausted. And I went home and it was during the GFC, the global financial crisis. And I went, oh my God, that wasn't really smart thinking, Shelley. That wasn't smart planning. Pivot. What was I going to do? So a legendary guy in Australia, a gold medal Olympian called Bill Kirby, rang me up and he said, Shell, would you do me a favour? My marriage is on the line if I don't give up solo coaching for open water swimming in the squad. Would you do that and you'll save my marriage? And I said, you think I can do that? Not save his marriage. Do you think I can be a coach? And he went, Shell, of course you'll do it. You'll be fine. I went, oh, okay. I'll do my best, you know. And that's how I got into open water swimming coaching. So the two photo, the top right, the first year I coached. The second and the bottom right is the next year. And then the third and fourth is when I went off on my own. And now it's my 12th year. And that's I don't advertise much. If you look at my Facebook, I'm really bad at it. Like Quinn's like, Shall we got to advertise for the workshop? And I'm like, that's okay, you know. And things like this, you know, it's you know, when you're talking about things when you want a business, and Troy, I know it's one of your questions about how do I start. Sometimes it takes one person just to tap you on the shoulder and say, look, can you help me out? Or as Narelle was saying, you know, look around in the associations. Or also, hi Corny's on today, welcome. And you know, it's when you look at the people around yourself. Who are the people that are keen on this sport, who will share their knowledge without worrying about their intellectual property? At the end of the day, people can't take your business because you're focused on you. It's like me in a race with Sydney Harbour. Dawn was out there, the Sea-Doo, and you know, it's 2 kilometres from the finish, and you know, I'm in second place, and you know, all the media are going, oh yeah, look, you know, Shelley catches the man, yeah, she can't do this. And then the next minute I start catching David O'Brien, and it wasn't that David was going slow, no, he didn't slow down. It wasn't that it was more so that I caught him because my focus was on just going there. It was my game plan. Don't give your energy to your competitors. All of a sudden, everybody on David O'Brien's boat was looking back at me. Guess what David did? What's going on behind me? So, you know, these are the things as an open water swimming coach when you're on a boat. You've got to really difficult because you've got to stay focused on the prize, which is your athlete, not so much the prize of winning, but getting the goal achieved to get them to the finish line. And if anything else happens, it's a bonus in the sport I deal with, not in the competitive world. It's very different in that world. But for these people, getting to the finish line is everything. These are all my elite athletes, champions in my world, because they're balancing life, family, commitments, Christmas, New Year, and, they want us from solo, and they haven't been in a squad since they're in high school, you know. So the thing is that the only reason I ended up passing David O'Brien is because everybody was willing me, you know, and it's not so much they were willing me to beat David, they were just willing me, giving me their energy and their source. And that's what a team spirit is all about. It's not about Shelley Taylor-Smith. No, I'm not a great coach. I'm a good coach. They're the great people because they take the knowledge that anybody has and share, and they take it. They absorb it. I'm a great coach or a good coach or whatever kind of coach you want. It's because I was willing to listen and learn from others and then put it into play and play with. Next slide, please. So right now I'd like to say, what's the champion impression you want to leave? Isn't he gorgeous? Isn't he the ant's pants? I was just saying earlier, I've been trying to find him for 30 years. That's 1991, he's got my gold medal. Now imagine, I'm sure in his lifetime, he was told he was disabled. He was going to be challenged, going to have a hard life. In that moment, look at my eyes looking at him. In that moment, he's holding my gold medal. I've got to say this without crying because it's quite emotional, this picture. In that moment, I believe in him. Anything is possible. And he's only got a little pinky holding up on that machine, that I can't think that machine, you know, that apparatus around him. In that moment, he is standing there absorbing that gold. Someone would have told him in his lifetime it's going to be a hard road. But in that moment, when you are eyeballing someone with all your heart and soul and you believe in them, and that's what you are as an open water swimming coach. You know, you say, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you. And I want you to get to the finish line, at whatever finish line it is for them. Next slide. Thank you. One of my swimmers said this to me sent this text message to me only on Sunday morning. She lives outside of Perth. She can't get down here very often. And she said to me, Shelley, she sent me this, swimming in a squad makes every wrong right. She hates swimming on her own. And I, you know, all of those that are on here that have been in a team understand this. You know those days when it sucks and it's hard. You know, look at them all. These are all days in January where I go to 3-hour sessions. I go from 2 to 3 hours. They've all got the snorkels on. They all look the same, don't they? You know, we all look the same. They've got the t-shirts on, and I'll share a few sessions in a moment. But swimming in a squad makes every wrong right. You don't, you know, once you're in there and you're around people, you know, I can see Narelle's big smile and Eric's as well. And you know, and I saw Quinn's too when it popped up and read the quote. You know, you sit back and you go, I remember those days, and boy, did it lift me. And that's what life's about. The greatest gift of life is the life of giving. And that's what you're giving in this sport. Next, please. Well, what equipment do I need to go outdoor swimming? Now, depending on what country you're in, you might need a wetsuit. Okay, particularly if you're a triathlete, you'll need goggles. There's an outdoor swimming kit for whatever, even in winter in some places in Australia. You know, if you're in Tassie and Melbourne, you need a wetsuit, you know, particularly when it get down there in that cold water. And if you're new to this, even as doing one-on-ones in the ocean, for you as a coach, you may need a wetsuit. I know that when I was coaching with Narelle and doing night times and we're doing Learn to Swim with Adults, as a teacher, teaching them how to swim, we wore a wetsuit because we're not doing much. We're not doing the swimming. You know, we're in there, you know, helping them. And so if you're down at the ocean or a river or a lake, maybe you need a wetsuit. Maybe you need some wet weather gear. Maybe you need, you know, gloves in some of the places. It's cold. You know, if it's below certain degrees, you know, your hands are out there and you're teaching and you need gloves. On the left is a different part of equipment. This is where we do our open water swimming. It's for cold water as well. We've got travel calm. You might be a coach, but you might be on a SUP or a kayak. Do you get seasick? You know, you might say, I've never been seasick in my life. Well, let me tell you, when you get out there in an open water swim, it's not your normal boat trip. You're not going on a cruise. You're not going on a ferry. You're not going on a cat. You're not going anywhere fast. You're going round in circles, sometimes on the spot. And, you know, seasickness is very common in coaches. And I get seasick on a boat. I don't in the water. So I do everything in my power. I take some really serious drugs because I don't want anything to stop me from coaching my swimmer and affecting my performance for them. Aqua ear. Oh, I've got swimmers right now. We're in week 8 and they've got ear infections. And I've, you know, and it happens. It just happens. How do you prevent? There's your thermal blanket, and the Fexo on the bottom is your antihistamines for jellyfish. Just some equipment that I want you to start thinking about. Next, please. Okay, so down on the left, these are all the toys I use in my squad. I use paddles, I use pull buoy, I use flippers, and I use a snorkel. A snorkel is, for me, as an coaching adults, is a lifesaver. I didn't realise it until I started noticing how quiet it was when we do the warm-up with a snorkel. And when you use a snorkel, like you go scuba diving, you know, or snorkeling, you know, you have to focus on your breathing. Well, we can only do one thing at a time, you know. So if you're doing yoga, meditation, it's all about the breath work. And I found that I'm able to get my swimmers present. They come physically, but mentally they're still wherever, whether it's AM or PM sessions, there's still stuff going on up here. Or they're already in the office in the morning, or at night they haven't even left the office. They're physically here, but they're not here. So I put the snorkel on for that reason, and it has worked wonders getting them into the main set or even in the warm-up build sets and their speed work. They're just more coherent. Plus it helps their technique and all the other reasons, but I just wanted to share that with you. I've just found it an eye-opener. Up in the, and I use it for their recovery at the end as well, just to bring their heart rate back down at the end of the program. And I can use it in the middle as well. If someone's just not in a good place for whatever reason, and I just said, hey, throw your snorkel on. because they just want their heart rate and all their mind just to get all the clutter out. They might have been frustrated that they just didn't do the main set to the best of their ability, in the sense that they're coming back from being sick and they're looking at their times. I'm like, don't look at the times, just monitor your heart rate. But they're creatures of habit, as we all are. And the middle one is, that's just equipment. It's just a water bottle with a gel and another water bottle. And you might think, that looks pretty basic, and that's what it's like when you're feeding. Sometimes you want to keep everything as simple as possible. And Narelle and I will go through the nutrition part next week. I've seen people go out on the swim to Roto like they're having it's a smorgasbord. And I'm going, do you sit down and eat that stuff? Have you tried eating all of that food? Someone just did a swim in English channel on that, and I was sitting down, and Narelle knows this because we had a conversation. I went, could you sit down for the next 6 hours or 7 hours or 8 hours and do all of that? I just want to throw up looking at it, So you've got to understand that it's all trial and error. Everything we're doing is trial and error, and we're tweaking it as we go. When you've got a squad, you've got to understand, as you do, and it becomes second nature, like we're talking about the safety plan, the assessment, the emergency action plan, the things, when you start knowing things, your intuition kicks in, and this is one of my gifts. So I'm able to say, to tweak individually someone in my squad while I'm looking at someone else, and it's just something that I'm good at and I'm proud of, and it's something I've learned over time and adapted to. Bottom right, everybody, as I said, one size does not fit all. Not everybody can sit down and have a can of baked beans, a sandwich, a banana, and their electrolyte in a 10K session. But Campbell Brown, AFL footballer, premiership player, for Hawks, 2 premierships. Oh my God, he has cast iron stomach, And I said to him, we're not going to be able to do baked beans. I'll have to blend them for you in the English channel. I'm not giving you a can of baked beans and a spoon. Well, he wanted it. I said, okay, I'll do it once at the start only. But after that, you're not getting a can of baked beans unless, it's for sponsorship, But I tried to blend them, but he knew, Yeah, some things you just can't get across. But it's okay, You have fun with it. And, this is all the trial and error. Next one, please. Okay, the one on the left, wool fat. Okay, that's part of your equipment as an open water swimmer. It could be for chafing. And 9 times out of 10, wool fat is for chafing. A lot of people psychologically think it's to keep them warm. The only thing that's going to keep you warm is your mind, basically, at the end, from acclimatization to the water. And that comes from getting in and getting wet, and then getting in and getting wet in the cooler water and acclimatizing. Wool fat is it's psychological. But hey, people will think it is, but that's fine. I don't mind at all. But you've got to have the right consistency, So I usually, it looks like honey, and that's the consistency you want it like. But that's me. I've just put it together. I've got Vaseline in there, and I've had it in the microwave for 10 seconds, and I'm playing with it there. Just go, yeah, this is about the right consistency. Now, look at the swimmer in the middle. He is very, this is right before Roto. He's got the second skin because he's got a suit that's at his waist at the moment. He's going to pull it up over, like the racing suits they use. You've got to remember, these adults, they're serious about their commitment. They'll spend $500 on a swimsuit, and and then they'll come to me and say, Shell, how do I get the wool fat out? But fairy detergent will work, all the little things, trials and errors, and the fun that we have. But you can see there's me, got my gloves on and doing my work, which is serious. My job is not done until they are ready to go before a swim. They all come down. I do the armpits. I let them do other private parts so they don't chafe. But here he's got his wool fat, and there's we'll share next week where there's a process, like get up, antihistamine, seasick pill, first layer of sunscreen. Okay, breakfast, shower, whatever you want to do. Okay, and then you come, and then okay, breakfast, and then okay, let's start your hydration. But we've been doing that for 2 days before. So the coach's job is never done until they go. They're in the water. So you see the one on the right, that's Julianne, good, that I coached online. And then I went with her around the world, English channel, Manhattan and Catalina Channel. And here she is getting in for Manhattan, and she's fair-skinned as well. So on top of the wool fat, we put zinc. She doesn't want skin cancer. She'll do, and this is why the zinc is good. The other reason zinc is really good is it blocks the skin and the wind getting into their skin, so their body temperature is not going to drop as much. And particularly when you've got an extreme air temperature, water temperature, we want the water, it's great when it's 40 degrees Celsius, and if the water's 20, there's a big difference there, and the body temperatures can change, and with wind as well. So this is all trial and error. There's no right and wrong here. Remember, one size does not fit all. So it's like getting them to practice. Next, please. Okay, these are some of my training sessions I picked out for you. Now, my Rotto plan as an open water swim coach, okay, if I get people coming to me and say, I want to swim to Rotto, and I haven't met them before, I say, can you swim? Because that's a really good question. Okay, I know it sounds basic, but I've had someone I didn't ask, and he showed up, and he was showed up first day for Rotto squad of the 20-week program. October 1st is when I start. And I went, oh, he doesn't know how to swim. Okay, so I ended up coaching him how to swim, working with his fear of drowning, because he had a near drowning experience as a child, so he had trauma. So I had to work through that with hypnotherapy and getting him worked in with people to deal with that trauma. And I was coaching him to Rotto at the same time. That's one swimmer, I have one right now, same thing. It's all about priming it and preparation. In the beginning, as I said, I got invited to this sport, and I didn't know what I was doing, in the sense I thought I didn't know what I was doing. But then I bounced things off with Narelle in Sydney, or I bounce things off with Gary Toner, or I bounce things off with Bill Kirby, and I go, how does this sound? Or I bounce things off with Graham Carroll, who was my coach in Sydney. And, I'm bouncing things off all the time, because one size does not fit all. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What about this swimmer? What about that mindset? And you learn as you go. And that's how I've become successful in having a 97.85% success rate. And I've probably had that many people not finish on the day, and then they've come back, and we've come back on their third attempt. Bless their cotton socks. They came back for more. If you have a look up here, in my 10K session, so when you get the recording, you'll be able to zoom in and push pause and zoom in. So I have fun. These are my 10K sessions. These are my 3-hour sessions in January. So we have one before Christmas, so they can go over Christmas and eat to the heart's content, as I tell them. Just go and just eat and put some weight on. And I have skinny people I call fat people. I call them, they have to be, remember, I say this respectfully. So I call them polar bears. I said, you have to think like a polar bear. Be a polar bear, trying to get them to put weight on. What would a polar bear eat, and just trying to get them just to have a little bit of just something I can grab on their hips. We call them love handles for a reason, because I want their kidneys love a little bit of fat there, particularly they're going to burn it off by the time they get to Rotto or across the English Channel. And so these Super Saturdays, 3 hours, a lot of fun. And well, I say they're fun anyway. By the end of it, they do, the first one, they kind of go, oh, you're kidding. And then the next ones, they go, oh, I can't wait for the next one. So you'll see there I've got, and I name them because in January we have the Australian Open tennis. So I like to bring fun into it, but also give them something that's topical in the press and they know the tennis is on. The bottom right-hand one is we lost Phillip Hughes at 65 not out in the cricket. So I said, and I'm getting goosebumps. I said, let's bring our cricket bats in honouring Phillip Hughes. And we did 65 100s that day. And I get really emotional with stuff like this. But I wanted everybody to really understand their why, coming back to why they wanted to swim to Rotto. Because, it sucks some days. I know they're like, I don't even know why I signed up for this, and I understand it because I've been there as a swimmer. But when you have something that can connect with, emotionally connect with, That's why I put the flag there. I do that on Australia Day. I come in with my flag wrapped around me. I've got green and gold zinc all over me. I look like a silly girl, but who cares? They laugh. I come in as Santa. I've got the hat on. I try and make it connect emotionally with them as much as possible. So when they're doing the sets, they don't realise how crazy the sets are, So the Nick Curious one's up there. I have a part where I call it the Philip Rock, so to the pub. So I'm saying, okay, the last 2K, you've got nothing left. And then, as they're in that last 2K, I haven't smell the beer yet. The pub's where they're actually swimming to, and now it's a coffee shop, but anyway, but get the gist of it. So I'm just always trying to work with their emotions while they're doing the hard yards. Next one, please. 2400s. Do you think they're excited about that? I go, I walk in and I have on the board 2400s. Another time I had 10 1000s, and they're just the overwhelming of 10 1000s. And I say, well, hang on a minute. No. Okay, I'm going to look at the first one. Let's look at the first K. It's the same as swimming a rotto. Let's eat the elephant one bite at a time. And I spoon feed them in the senses I drip feed everything in the whole 20 weeks. I don't want to overwhelm them. I don't want to start talking about nutrition, and, I drip feed it week by week, and I do it via emails, and I do it by motivational messages on SMS sometimes. I always give them feedback at the end of the week through an SMS or a watch chat to the group to say, hey, what a great session, what a great week. Did you realise this is what you did today, or what you've achieved this week? Do you know how many hours are left before your rotto? How many days are left? Do you know how many more sessions you have to put up with me? It's week 8. All those kind of things, all those messages are engaging your squad, but they're engaging you as well. You'll get as much out of it as they will. You won't think sometimes, well, I'm just the coach and I'm just letting them know. No, you're not actually. You're actually investing in them more than you realise. You taking, even a little message after a session, if you take them down to open water swimming and they were really nervous and everything, and you just give them a little follow-up message, say, hey, just wanted to let you know, I think you did really great today. I know you weren't, you didn't really want to show up, but you got in, and good on you. Or you say to someone, hey, your stroke looked really good out there in the open water today, because people's strokes change in open water. Swim patterns change. And what's really interesting in what changes is the people that necessarily aren't the best in the pool are really good in open water. And I've seen people do an 8-hour swim to Rotto from my slowest lane. And people in the second fastest lane have gone slower, at say a 6-lane or 8-lane pool that I've had. And people are like, how did he do that? And I go, well, he's just been in the water a little bit more. He could have been in the ocean a little bit more. It's a fine dynamics, but some people get out in the open water and they just relish it. They just bloom. They blossom. They're sea babies, or a river baby, as I was saying. And you can see them in the open water. They just feel free. They don't feel constricted like a swimming pool. And, everybody's different. One size doesn't fit all, but it's really interesting when you see those people blossom out in the open water, and you can see it in their stroke, but you can actually see it in the whole being when they come out, and it's really interesting to watch. There's a set down there on the left hand side, which I would call a kind of like an aerobic endurance, but also you've got a bit of speed in there when you're working through the zones from A1, A2, A3 that I've been talking about, which is their heart rates. The 24s there, you've done what have we done? We've done and then there's a threshold set, and I never put threshold sets up on the board. I wait, and then I go, okay, now here's your next set, and I put the threshold up, and they go, shit, and then I just go, okay, no tantrums today, no Nick Curiouses, just have fun with it. One in the middle, I don't know, have we got another slide for these training plans, Laura, or is that the final one?
No, that's the final one, Shelley.
Thanks,
those were all the training schedules.
Yes, that's great, perfect. So when you get this, zoom in on the middle one with my hat on, and that's my Christmas set where I just play. It's just push. A sense of I want them to be comfortable and comfortable, and you're always trying to, and it's mentally that's the challenging part. I can tell with open water swimming. you can tell people in the water, you know, because you can sense it from their mentality, their mindset, how they're going to swim on the day. You know, if they can't handle being uncomfortable, if they can't handle swimming crap with a rubber band around their ankles, and a lot of people don't like it because they're very uncomfortable and they're like way out of their comfort zone. Why am I sinking? Why am I doing this? What's wrong with me? And I'm like, it's just a game. Just relax, just play with it, you know. So I try and make everything a game and playful. So we do swim sets with T-shirts on. One year I said, bring some socks. And they went, what for? And I said, because we can. You know, I just play. You know, I said, bring a T-shirt. Someone brings long sleeves. Someone said, I didn't know it could be short sleeves. I just said, bring a T-shirt. You know, it's really interesting because you're understanding how people think, but also you just want to have fun with it. And then I have a wet T-shirt competition, and I have someone come in, you know, and someone picks the best wet T-shirt, you know, and it might be what it says on the T-shirt. It's not the person that looks the best in the wet T-shirt. It's usually I get it. One of the kids that come in, one of the parents' kids come in. I said, oh, could you, you know, be a judge today for me? And, you know, it's all about just having fun and incorporating everyone. Next slide, please. I know we've gone over time. I'll keep going. Oh, we're really there. If this is your homework, I want you to sit down and define your winning formula for me. Where are you excelling? Or where do you think you excel? What area in open water swimming do you think that you would best suit? Or where you even want to stretch yourself? Also, what are you known for? These are just compliments that you might have heard a lot of, but you didn't really give them much thought. That's a pattern. And there's a reason for that, because that's what you're known for. Someone says you're patient, you handled that parent really well. That's what you're good at. You're really good at that. What creates raving fans? You know, what is it about you that brings people back? And it doesn't matter if it's in your current career, you can transfer that into other areas. That's your motivational strategy, that's your success strategy. And that's what is unique, what I call your achievement code. It's like your DNA. Okay, it's unique to you and only you. But you can model other people on it. Okay, what separates you from the rest? Do you want to be the same as everybody else, or do you want to just be you? Be unique. Your personal brand is why people buy you. Okay, it's what is it that keeps coming back to the Narelle Simpson Swim School? What is it that comes back to Team STS? I've got people in my squad that I go, God, you like a good flogging. You've been coming to me for 10 years. Okay. I've had people, 15-year-olds that are now 25, you know, and I said to them, and I sent them all the different photos because, you know, those photos that you saw, I've got them for every year. Do a team photo. And I've watched people grow. It's quite funny when they're 15 and grow, you know, and you know, now adults, and they go, oh no, Shelley, don't put that up. It's not that. It's like, okay, what's your brand? Why do people buy you? Why do they want to come to you? It's not what you're doing. It's how you do it. How is incorporating your why. I really want you to think about that. The how. The how is how you do it. It's a verb. It's action. It's not what you say. It's how you say it. How you convey your knowledge is your brand. It's not your price. It's not. It may be a factor, but it's not why they keep coming back. And it's not why they'll go to you. So if you start off, as Troy was saying earlier, can I have the next slide, please? Troy that's on is saying, how do I start? It starts. You just start. You know, it could start with one swimmer. One swimmer. It could be talking to one coach. It could be could be going on pool deck with a coach. It could be going down to the river with a coach. It could be ringing up saying, hey, someone in your area, looking up, you know, those open water swimming associations and clubs that I think it was Donna was telling me about in Victoria on the Mornington Peninsula. I think I got that right. So remember that in setting your goals for your business and your career, it's you in the middle, okay? It's you in the middle. You are you. You are you. You do things the same in all other areas, Yeah, there's going to be a tweak here and there, but you are you. And you is what is unique to you. So look at, if there's people you want to model, as I was saying in the beginning, I had mentors, Dawn Fraser, okay? And, you know, people you want to talk to, people you want to help you and support you, you reach out to them. I didn't become successful as a swimmer on my own. There is no solo in marathon swimming. There is no solo in swimming. There is no solo in life. Life is a team sport. You know, I'm sorry, but even if you, I've heard the saying, and I'm sure you've all heard it, someone slept their way to the top, right? Guess what? That's a team. That person needed someone to sleep with, okay? They didn't do it on their own. I'm glad you like that one, Quinn. It's true, you know? To rely on someone to sleep with to get to the top, you know? So life's a team sport. So in this, you just sit down and go, okay, who do I need to rub shoulders with? Who do I need to hang with? And what are the actions that this type of person takes? What do they do? How do I model that? Remember how I'm saying, how? It's behavior. What are they doing? What is the action they are taking? Successful swimmers are disciplined. They've got habits. They've got champion habits. You look at successful coaches. You look at anybody's successful life. They've got habits. They do things on a regular basis because it works. Kiwis don't do the haka at 50%, 60%, 70%. They do it at 100% every time because it's a ritual and it's because of the effect it has on them and others that they do it. And you never see a half a haka. You see, and once again, as I talk about it, I get goosebumps because you cannot not get the effect of a haka because it is so ingrained in who they are. And when they do it, I go, how the hell do they go out and play a game of rugby? How the hell do they, you know, it's so, they give so much into it. But that spirit is what drives them. It's the same as you and your spirit. Next slide, please. We're nearly done. Thanks for hanging in me with everybody. Okay, this is your homework. And remember, we're going to keep your why in mind. And I want you to look at it from an organisation, a business. And I want you to look at in 2 years or even the next 6 months. It doesn't have to be 2 years, but what kind of goals do you want to set for yourself? And it's that plan I was talking about. Remember, I didn't have a plan. Phil Kirby planned it for me, you know. And then, you know, I knew what to do. Oh, I need to talk to people about a business. Call Narelle. Call someone about being a coach. Call this person about organising my business. What should I do here? What's my goal? You know, and I'm thinking, God, I don't know. I haven't run a business before. You know, I've just been a swimmer, a school teacher, a speaker, motivator. Oh, no, now I'm a coach. Oh, gosh, and now I'm a mindset coach. Oh, my goodness. What do I do now? You talk to people that do all those things. That's how I, you know, that's how I became good at what I'm doing. And now I share that knowledge and people take action. It's like, you know, it's amazing. It's just little old me. I'm nothing special. I just listened and had a hunger. Next one, please. Woo! Thanks, everybody. Anybody got a quick question they might want to ask? Was that good value today, everybody? That's good, Eric.
Hey, Shelley, I have a quick question. So I noticed in your equipment slide, you had a few different items. Some of them were for kind of cold water swimming hypothermia. I'm wondering if there's like a standard hypothermia kit you recommend. I mean, we're in the winter season.
What I would do is
go ahead.
Together. Thanks, Suze. Thank you. What you needed tonight. That's lovely. I love that feedback. We'll put something together because that's really impertinent. And I know that also, if we're able to, can we share that information on Jer Kennedy that's doing his webinar on December 7th?
Yes.
So for those who are really interested in cold water swimming, ice swimming, because it is a niche.
Yeah.
You know, you can, I can't, and Narelle, you've just done some coaching with, Narelle, open up your link for me, please, or turn yourself off mute. Yeah,
Yes.
Now, I've just coached someone in ice swimming in Australia, and it's hard to find that cold water, but when you can, it's a very short window, and would you agree, Narelle? It's a niche market, and you've got to really understand it. Wouldn't that be right?
You've got to actually really plan your training, and also the equipment, as you mentioned. Plus, you've got to have backup. I had nurses, doctors, defibs, you name it. The things you have to do to have cold water swimming is so different to open water swimming. You add on, so it's the backup you've got to have is unbelievable, because they swim in under 5 degrees. So it's definitely a niche area, and the training's very, very different. Very different in all open water.
And I'm not an expert in that. Oh, sorry, Narelle, go ahead.
I've said I've had quite a lot do cold water swimming now. So it's it's becoming really popular. The ice mile is so popular. Yeah. So it's all over the world.
It's interesting you say that, Narelle, because this morning one of my swimmers said, very lean, she went down to the beach yesterday morning, and it was our first real hot day in Perth. And it's it's spring coming into summer next week, and we've had really big winds, very cold. She's very lean, very lean. And I listened to her talking to someone. She said, oh, look, it took me hours to warm up after getting out. I went up to her and I said, well, what did you put on? And, all of these things are key indicators where people, don't have no idea. They don't know, and I was like, did you put on layers? Did you, and she went and had a coffee afterwards. And, there's different processes for different parts of cold water swimming or ice swimming. But, warming up is very important. Some people have and I'll put that in some fine details for you, Quinn. It's a really great question, because everybody's different. But if you have all your clothes laid out, and people will have all different things, and the people that have been in cold water swimming there, they'll have the mittens, they'll have the socks, and, it's very similar to what we do with English Channel, but it's even on a different level, those that aren't acclimatized enough, they're new to it. And that's as a coach where you need spotters even more, which in the ice swimming world we call them seconds, because they're just as important as first, which is you. So thanks, great question, Quinn. And I know everybody will enjoy that, because your water temperatures change unless you're going to stay in the summer, and that's fine. You might do something else, but you might want to take it somewhere as well, to another venue for cold water, which is great to offer that opportunity as well.
Cheryl, can I just add in there too, because in ice swimming, you also, how you feed them and the temperature of the nutrition you give them also changes. So it's very different type of coaching when you're coaching in the colder temperatures, how you change the fluids you give them. So it's you've really got to be aware, and you've really got to know your swimmers.
I couldn't agree more. And as I was saying before, when you've got that air temperature and water temperature, like 40 degrees in the air and 20 degrees in the water, that 20 degrees is a lot for a solo swimmer. And it's even more if you've got duos and teams out in a race on a boat. There's just so many different variables and factors to take into consideration. It's not, remember, one size does not fit all. So I'm always onto my swimmers about earplugs. If they, I don't get seasick, I don't get ear infections. But then I've had people that, twice they didn't, one lady got, never said, oh, I don't get seasick. 2 kilometre mark, 20K swim was over, and she never took any seasick pills. Once you start barfing, it's very hard to stop if it's going to be a rock and roll day. Some people, I've got swimmers that have swum the whole way throwing up, and I gave them the barfing award at the awards night, a champion barfing award, because I can't imagine swimming 20K throwing up at every feed. You can't keep anything down. And I just forgot to take their seasick pills at the start, precaution, and you hear it a lot from relay swimmers and duos, they thought, oh no, I'll be right. She'll be right, mate. I'm on a boat. No, boats and swimming are completely different when you're swimming open water swimming. Boat speed, as I said, is completely different. And water temperature of your drinks needs to change depending on your swimmer. And that's from trial and error, as Nell will agree. Not everybody's the same. One size does not fit all, but they have to trial it. That's what I'm talking to you about in understanding and educating. You've got to trial things. Thing down there, you say, oh, I couldn't get on a SUP, oh, I couldn't get on a kite. Well, have a go. Play. You know, it's all about having fun and loving what you do. So you've got to trial these things. And if you think, oh no, I'm hopeless in a kite, well, go down. You haven't got the squad and over the venue and have a go. You know, it's all about trial and error for yourself as well. Anybody got any questions? Everybody got value? Oh, shucks. I'm really excited for next week because I talk about mindset, and I'm going to do nutrition a bit more in detail as well. If there's anything you want to know, like Troy's reaching out to me, and Narelle, thank you so much for those comments at the start, because that was a great segue into what we were going on about. Thanks, Brendan, for the thumbs up, because I know Troy would have got a lot of value from that. Would that be right, Troy? Excellent. Well, you guys have a wonderful day. I'm off to lunch with my sister. Hey! The only reason I got into swimming is because she was an asthmatic, and I went along and did the big sister thing and kept her company. And my sister was a great swimmer, and she retired at 13, and I took a bit longer. Hey, Corny. And so swimming, Swimly Australia. Lovely to have you on board today. Great to see you again. Well, have a lovely day, everybody. If you've got any questions, you know where to reach me, okay? And, you know, just hit me up on Instagram or Facebook or email, you know how to get me, okay? And no question, every question is valuable. And I know you've got lots of questions. So I hope the business part today gave you some insight in starting to ask those important questions. I can't wait to see how you go with your homework next week, for next week. Ciao.
Thank you, everyone. Great job,
Shelley.
Shelley. Thank you so much.